So you're preparing to have your first meeting, and obviously the question is who else should be at the meeting to create the meeting. And the first thing you want to do, if possible, is it's best to start at the top and trickle down. And I don't like this top bottom type of thing, but we all know there's a chain of command in the world of organizations. But it doesn't have to be. If you're implementing this system for your department, that's fine. You just start as high as you can with people who want to implement this. All right. So that's the first thing. So if it's implemented by the CEO or the head of a certain department or a supervisor, it could be any of those things. But the first people you'll want is the team that is directly reporting to the person in charge of whatever department's implementing it. So you don't want it to be a big team of people, but it's good to have those people. And when I call it the subordinates, so if a CEO were implementing it, he would probably have the head of manufacturing if it's a manufacturing plant, the plant managers, the supervisor or the head of maintenance and shipping and purchasing and sales or something like that. Okay. But so you get one person, at the max two, from each of those departments. So what you're trying to do is have the meeting created by a team of people where there's enough people there to know what's going on and be able to do a good job, but not so many that it becomes a huge burden. All right. So that's what you do is you gather that group of people together. Now you have to be sure that the person who's there has the ability or the authority to make decisions. That's very important. And they also have to have a well-rounded knowledge of the department that they represent, and they are expecting to participate in these daily or routine meetings. You want to have as few people as possible to create that particular meeting. Sometimes you need a minimum of two just so you have people to think about it. Well, that's not always true. You could be creating a meeting for your own personal check-in, which is great, and I highly recommend it. But it's good to have more than one person to bounce ideas off of, etc. But you want as few as possible, but no fewer. Okay, 3 to 5 works great, but I've done it with groups as many as 20, and my partner has done it, in groups much larger than that. But anyways, the more people you have, obviously, the longer it's going to take, though, I can tell you that. All right. Now, it is much better to have one person who has helped create one of these meetings before. It's worth paying for it the very first time just so that they walk you through it. It's not necessary, and I'm going to try to do that with these videos. But when the person's there in live, that's very, very helpful. Of course, that's not always possible. Or if they're not live, they could zoom in. But in either way, it's not always possible, but it is very useful. They can help you get questions. They can see how questions have worked in the past and move them, change them a little bit. But that's basically who you want involved in this meeting. And you're going to have to set up the time for this meeting. Allow at least 3 hours. That would be very common. You may want to allow a little more. And if you finish early, that's great. Okay, so that's who you need.